Hi everybody, I'm Seamus.
I'm Josh.
I'm Ritsko.
And I'm Chris.
And after we just finished playing what is, well, probably not the worst game of this console generation, certainly the most disappointing, we decided to play one of perhaps the most unexpectedly, surprisingly good games of this generation, which is The Walking Dead.
Absolutely. Yes, we are taking a game that is built on the much-maligned heavy rain mechanic by way of Telltale's universally shit-panned Jurassic Park implementation, and basing it on a source material that draws more ire on the internet than, like, Sarah Michelle Gellar with the face of Kristen Stewart.
This game caught pretty much all of us completely off guard, not only because it's a Telltale game and they have an incredibly spotty release record, especially since the game that immediately preceded this one was their Jurassic Park game, which I'm sure we can all agree would have been better off never made.
Yes, second worst Jurassic Park game ever made.
But it's also based on
Poor Jurassic Park.
on
Poor
the
Shrek,
Walking
rather.
Dead graphic novel series, which has been running for like 10 years and is written by Robert Kirkman, and spawned the AMC television show The Walking Dead, and neither of them are very good, especially the television show, which started off really strong, but then puked all its momentum out and decided to become a really bad soap opera where occasionally a zombie would wander onto the set and eat someone.
Yep.
Okay, so real
no,
quick.
I think this is
Hold on, real quick. This is how the game works. Game gives you conversation options. You press the button for which one you want. Timer ticks down. Continue. That's like the main mechanic of this game.
I think it's really interesting that in the comic and in the TV show, the main character is a former police officer. And this series kicks off with you in the back of a squad car, a convicted murderer. Although we don't know that at the time. That we find that out in a little while.
And
But at
Seamus's
this point, you don't even know what you
graceless
did.
spoiler reminds me to mention, we are going to actually be keeping the spoilers down for the most part. We're going to try not to reference anything that happens in the next episode for sure. So if you haven't finished the game yet, stick around, it's fine.
To be fair, the convicted murderer thing just came out right here in this scene.
Yeah.
You just said, I reckon you didn't do it. So that isn't really... it gets talked about and it becomes more important later, but during this setup conversation, it just establishes, okay, you're Lee Everett, you are in the back of a squad car, handcuffed, you are maybe not a good guy. I thought this was a hook right from the beginning for me. It's like, whoa, I'm a bad guy? How bad am I? What did I do? That's not a thing that you find out in the beginning of the video game. He doesn't have amnesia. There's just this tension between what you know and what your character knows.
Yeah, and I really like it for that, because unlike Mass Effect, this game very quickly starts out establishing Lee as having his own character, even though you can influence it to some degree.
Right.
Right. Imagine this game is like sort of a median, and you can fall on either side of that median. Most of your options will average out as sort of a general Lee disposition, which is, you know, fairly honorable, straightforward, reasonable, but inclined to solve problems. But you could tend towards, generally speaking, a more sort of humanistic, live and let live, let's, try to preserve life and happiness as long as we can, or you could tend towards a more practical side. But, you feel
Also,
like the same person, whichever you do.
It's interesting to note that the game pretty much starts out... if you've seen the promotional material for the Walking Dead television show, you've probably seen that very infamous photo of Rick riding the horse to Atlanta with all of the cars piled up trying to get out of Atlanta that have been abandoned, and we're basically driving on that same road out of Atlanta at the beginning of this game.
crying and snotting all over right where you're sitting.
Yeah, I've seen that picture, and I'm not even into the TV series that much. I quit watching like 5 episodes in. I decided I hate all these people, and if they all got eaten by zombies next episode, I would call that a net win.
The best episode ever. Oh man. Can you introduce all their relatives so they can die next episode too?
What, Chris?
I was just going to say that the show is not bad if you sort of respect the fact that it feels like it's a little schizophrenic and jumps back and forth between what it's trying to do with the characters. Episode by episode, it's a pretty good, actually kind of comparable to the game. It's very character-driven, dialogue-driven, not a lot of zombie emphasis, but it is completely schizophrenic in terms of how it is paced and what is happening.
I got another good one.
I'm more on the Seamus side than the Chris side. It's good
hey, dude.
I do say so. This other time.
Okay, so this moment. This is a great example of your main adversary in this game is not the zombies, it's time. It's pressuring, getting in pressure and panicking and making the wrong decision. I really hope you can hear any of this over the car crash noises and intense music. But the point is, it was great because at that point, like, I saw a zombie and I'm like, oh, can I do something? And I like noticed there's 4 options too late, so I just pick a random one. And one of them is, and they're all range on a scale from helpful, which is like, there's a guy on the road, or slow down, or stop, and then there's, oh shit, which is what I picked. Because I panicked. I just say, oh shit, and that felt really appropriate.
This feels a little weird. It's like you basically get knocked out in the back of the car, and when you wake up, the zombie apocalypse is basically over. It's like zombies have eaten everybody, and the world is screwed.
Well, yeah, it's like you were out for like 3 days or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Now he says, "Oh, I'm thirsty." That really bugged me, only because he never ever follows up. He doesn't actually get a drink after this.
Well, I mean, you could also see it as an homage to the remake of Dawn of the Dead, where this happens in the very beginning as well.
Well, The Walking Dead is even, like, The Walking Dead comic and television show is even weirder because Rick is apparently in a coma for, like, months before, before he wakes up and finds everything has gone to shit, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because he should have, you know, run out of water.
Died. Yeah, just
so what you're seeing him do there, where he's just left-clicking on something, that's how virtually all of the combat in this game works.
So
that's our gameplay.
Yeah, you can also, like, this game is also interesting as far as, adventure games sort of gameplay goes, because you move with the WAS and D keys instead of clicking to move.
This game has 3 modes of interaction. Clicking on objects and enemies in the environment, piloting your dude around, scooting him along the environment like a remote-controlled car, and picking dialogue options under pressure. Oh, and combining things, but, like, that's... Basically, yeah, playing little mini-games where you interact with something.
But unlike a lot of adventure games, those are like... The puzzles make sense, they're very brief, very short, they're more like a breather from everything else. It's more a moment for you to sort of digest what's going on.
Right.
As opposed to, it's not like, oh, we have to stop and solve a puzzle before we can proceed.
It looks like you do, but Lee is being held up by some kind of harness wired to the sky when he's reaching down there.
Dude has got calves of steel.
And he's got a wounded leg.
Officer? God damn.
So I didn't know you could grab the shell this early in the game.
Yeah, this is actually... Nope, I grabbed them both after... Yeah, I did not grab either of those. I went right over to the cop. I was really approaching this in a role-playing mode and just saying, well, okay, in real life I would not assume that this is a zombie apocalypse. I would just... Like, he's going to drop the key here in front of the guy's mouth. The only reason this is tense is because we know there's a zombie problem.
Yeah.
And putting your hand in front of his mouth is incredibly tense. But, of course, Lee doesn't know that. So that's another weird moment where there's this tension. Like, that should be tense for us, but not for Lee.
And to be fair, that's totally okay.
Yeah. I mean, movies do that all the time. That's like a big source of tension.
Dramatic irony.
I mean, you get a. That's how you get characters into situations where they're in danger. Is you have them not know that there's danger, and you let the audience know.
So, if you have the shotgun shell initially, does it fall out? Do you have to grab it again?
Yes, it still does.
Okay, because that's a nice moment.
And you can actually wait here and yell at him for a while before actually having to shoot him.
Oh.
He's not moving very fast.
Did you test this, Josh? Because I was not gonna let him. I was not gonna wait there and see how long he would crawl towards me.
Yeah, neither did I. I pulled the trigger as soon as I could.
I sat down with my wife to have her try this game because she really likes the Walking Dead show. This was the moment where she decided the game was too intense for her and she couldn't do it.
I can see that.
There's been a shooting. Way to announce it.
I actually also played this game with my lady. And that was probably the tensest moment of this episode for her, was getting the shell into the shotgun.
I love that moment. There's been a shooting, and I didn't have anything to do with it, and my leg hurt.
Well, point is, they opened this game on a real strong note with that, like, again, nothing about that was hard. You click on a thing, you click on another thing, you click on a zombie. The idea is you panic. That's what this game is built on.
This is the thing I've said about any sort of fear-based gameplay is difficulty is not tied to fear. Everybody thinks, oh, the harder a game is, the scarier it is. No.
Typically, it's the opposite. Because when you die, it just kind of ruins all of the suspense. It's like, oh, I'm in a video game.
It's like, it's like having somebody pause the movie. It's like having somebody pause a movie. Oh, I gotta go take a piss, and you're like, oh.
It'd be like
and there's a freeze frame
watching
of
a
the bad
slasher
guy.
film where the protagonist keeps on dying to Jason and then coming back to life every 5 minutes.
Yep. That moment right there, it was not hard, but you don't know how hard it is or what you have to do, and so you're looking, where's the next prompt? What do I have to do? And it creates tension and it rattles you.
The least scary moment in the whole runtime of Amnesia was the one time I died.
Yep.
I thought the...
Hello?
No,
Anybody?
I don't know what I was going for there. Ignore me.
Oh, in Amnesia, it's when I was killed by the monster in the water because I didn't understand what I was seeing in the water. I was like, oh, that's like an invisible monster. I thought it was something dropping from the ceiling. And I was yanked out of the game and died, and it didn't feel scary anymore.
I don't think the game is scary. I think the game is tense. Your choices matter.
That's a better word.
People die all the time.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen, and it's just tense. You're on the edge of your seat, not horrified. It's not an Amnesia screaming.
Right. But either way, death negates the emotional. It blunts the emotional drive of the story.
And speaking of which, I won't spoil try not to spoil anything, but not a lot of people. Not a lot of characters die over the course of The Walking Dead. Really, even just compared to a regular first-person shooter. Like, if percentage of the name cast dying is actually not huge. Like, characters occasionally die, but it's not something you can count on the same way you can count on it like Game of Thrones. Character death is less important than character development to The Walking Dead, and that's one thing I really respect about it. It would rather put a character through something tragic than it would just, like, have them be killed off for a cheap dramatic punch.
Anybody home?
Am I the only one that while Lee is shouting, somebody help, yell if you can hear me, you're like, shh, shut up, oh, stop it.
Shut the fuck up, you jackass.
Like, no, but of course he doesn't know, and the game's playing totally fair with that. If he was doing that 3 episodes in, then yeah, that would be really frustrating.
This game also does the kind of absurd thing where no one ever calls the zombies zombies.
I'm not an intruder.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of
the TV show.
The Walking Dead.
No, I know. I'm saying it carries that forward, like in the Walking Dead canon. I'm not really sure why to do that, I guess.
Because then, if they use the word zombie, then they have to be... Don't use that word, the Z word. It's ridiculous. Because then it implies that they are aware of zombie stories and, you know, the whole zombie genre of... And then you wonder about them being genre savvy. And you wonder how much do they know about how these things are supposed to work.
That's an interesting point, but without spoiling anything, in the next episode, they do make a very sort of genre-savvy assumption about zombies that turns out to be wrong.
It was some crazy guy near the hotel, so we had to get him back to
That's
the
true.
ER and have it checked
That's
out.
true.
Anyway, he's not feeling well
I
enough to
love
drive back
this.
tonight,
Okay,
so we're
this
staying
is-
an extra day.
This
Thanks so
this
much
is
for looking after
important,
Clementine, and I
and you
promise
could
we'll
totally
be
miss
back in
this
time before
answering
the
machine
spring break.
message and skip it, and it's really important knowledge. Is you listen to this? What this is the classic
Oh my God, finally. I
recorded
don't know if you tried to reach
the
us.
the
all the calls
audio
are getting
log that you
dropped.
find in all video
They're not
games,
letting
except
us
this one
leave
is
and
actually
aren't telling
totally
us anything
justified,
about Atlanta.
makes perfect
Please,
sense, tells you
please,
exactly what you
leave
need to
the
know,
city and take Clementine
and
with
sets
you
things
back
up
to
for you.
Marietta. I've got
It
to
gives
get
you
back to
just
the
a bit of
hospital.
exposition.
Please let me know that
This,
you're safe.
having heard this, is relevant to every single episode of this series.
Clementine, baby.
Whoa. Hey,
If you can
the
hear
stuff
this,
on the desk
call
just
the
changed.
police.
Did you guys see that?
911.
Everything shifted.
Yeah, I
like,
did.
We love you.
God, zombie poltergeists.
We love you.
Like the heaviest moment of this whole episode right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was hard.
Daddy?
And you're like, oh, this family died. I wonder what happened to them.
Here it comes. Oh,
Bingo.
Did you trip?
Got a first try. What?
Okay, now here's my one of my very,
Wow, I
very
didn't even
few
trip.
complaints
Huh.
about this game. No, you trip if you come in here before
Oh, wait.
that moment.
No, wait. Isn't there like we get attacked by someone in here and then we
Yeah.
trip? Isn't that how it
There's
goes?
a ninja
I
zombie in
tripped
here.
both
This
times.
game,
I'm okay. They tried
you
to
don't
get me,
trip unless you
but
go
I'm
into the
hiding
kitchen
until my
before
parents
listening to
come
the
home.
answering machine.
Mhm.
But this is one of my few complaints about the story, and the TV show apparently has this problem too, which is ninja zombies. It's like you look around the room, totally empty,
Clementine.
and then
This is my
a zombie
house.
sneaks up on you anyway. And I don't mind that zombies sneak up on you, but the story's often really, really cheap. It doesn't
They took a
give
trip
it like a
with me
zombie
with
comes out of a
Santa.
brightly
They're
lit
in
corner
Savannah,
with
I
nothing
think,
that it could have been
where the
hiding
boats are.
behind, and silently comes up behind you.
Are you
And that's
safe?
just that
I'm
could be
outside
better
in my
handled.
treehouse. They can't get in.
That's smart.
Like you're about to get jumped here. Spoiler
See?
warning.
Can you see me? I can see you.
I
through
thought
the
we were
window.
gonna spoil anything. Seamus.
We're not gonna spoil anything in like the next episode, or the next half of the episode, if we can help it. But this is pretty relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So quick time events.
Yeah, that's the thing is when you turn around and it's there. Listen to how much noise it's making. It's like like that.
Yeah.
There's oh god.
Don't slip on the. Oh, you suck, Josh. You're terrible.
This fucking started out with a broken leg.
So I think it's important to point out the combat mechanics here, because this is what we are basically doing the entire game to kill zombies.
Yep.
And
Yeah. Surprisingly, it never really gets that old.
well, you only do it
No,
once or
they're
twice
rare.
an episode.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I think it's a brilliant way of sort of... It's a way of having an economy of mechanics where I'm trying to figure out how to describe this, where there are mechanics that are designed to reinforce the emotion you're going through. Like, look at the catharsis of hitting this thing in the head over and over again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is,
Totally
you know, it
wrecked
wasn't
that guy's
just
face.
Nasty.
like it wasn't just as simple as I'm clicking on the zombie now. There was the moment where you had to go get the hammer.
Yeah.
And that, like, you know, it
Yeah.
uses the mechanics you recognize from maneuvering through the rest of the game. There's a thing I need over there, so I click on it, and I
Did you
click
kill
back.
it?
It means that you can figure out what you need to do very easily in the few crisis situations without it needing to build this whole thing
I
around
think
it.
so.
And having
Sometimes they
the
come back.
cursor disjoint from the camera,
You
disjoint
can-
from the thing you're trying to click
No,
on, does
they get
give you that sort of
shot.
panic of, oh god, am I going to hit it?
Yeah.
Oh god, I got to hit it.
Yes.
Through this?
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
It
and there are a
creates that
few-
tension.
My parents to come home
Events
now.
in this game that are actually really hard to catch.
I think that might be.
Yeah, there are a few.
Although
and
typically they
sometimes
don't
can
result
affect,
in game over.
Look,
Yeah, there are some things that can impact the outcome of things, and sometimes you don't even realize. Like, there'll be a quick time event where you can stop,
How'd I get
you
the
can make a
blood on the
decision to
back
stop
of my
mashing a
shirt?
button and have something happen different.
That was supposed to be from the slip, but I don't
No
think you got
time
the
here.
real slip.
I don't. What did she ask? I wasn't paying attention.
Choose sun goes down, because I've never chosen that, and it's obviously
Get out of
stupid.
here once the sun goes down.
Yeah, that's obviously
what I picked.
idiotic.
That's wait, no, that.
We're less
Oh,
likely to be seen if we move.
No, wait,
back.
If you're
Get out of
genre
here.
savvy.
Parents might come home.
Oh.
We won't go far.
I
Yes,
always
no,
chose
that
to
is
go to
absolutely
the
idiotic. That's right.
That sounds good.
No, you're
We
right.
can
You're
hide
right.
in the
I was
treehouse
thinking.
until
No,
then.
that's the thing that makes sense. But no, I was actually
Tough
confused about what
climb
you were
with this
thinking.
leg, but that's a good idea.
I did not play with
Let's go.
the closed
Stay
captioning
close to
on.
me.
I like that it's color coded. That's a nice touch.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
I
is.
never realized.
Hi everybody, I'm Seamus.
I'm Josh.
Okay, my Ethernet cable came out, but I'm back.
You son of a bitch!
I hate you.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Oh, I hate the whole internet now. You've ruined everything. Let's just go play. Let's just go play the Mass Effect 3 Leviathan DLC.
we have to play Leviathan now to make up for it.
See what you've done,
As
Rutsgrove.
an act
You've
of
ruined
penitence?
everything.